Hi, this is Jane, and I am here today with Autumn Stringam. She's the daughter of Tony Stephan, the formulator of Q96 Empower Plus. And she's also the author of an amazing book about her life. And I'm going to talk to her today a little bit about the book and her story. So Autumn, to start, tell me a little bit about your book and why you chose to write it.
I wrote a book about overcoming bipolar. It's called A Promise of Hope, the astonishing true story of a woman afflicted with bipolar disorder and the miraculous treatment that cured her, which is like a really hard title to carry around. We actually had it on the back of a camper trailer for a coast-to-coast tour in Canada, and it was fun driving around with that on the back of the camper because people always tried to look in the cab to check who the bipolar woman was that was cured. It's a story about my mom and growing up with my mom who was struggling with bipolar, and then ultimately becoming a bipolar mom and really putting my family through some hard years, and then losing my mom to suicide as a result of her bipolar. And then it's just a beautiful story of redemption because out of strange circumstances and answers to prayer, I was able to be brought out of the illness that took not only my mom's life, but my grandfather's life as well, and just become a healthy, strong mother to 4 healthy kids and in a great marriage. So that's what it's about.
So when you started struggling yourself, I mean, how old were you? What happened? How did that come on?
Well, my first suicidal thoughts that I can really peg down to where I was standing and what I was thinking and what my plan was, I was 10. I don't know how much of that had to do with my mom's illness and her introducing that concept when I was, 8 or 9, but I meant it. I was serious at the time. I really was despondent and I didn't feel well. I felt sick. By the time I was 12, my body started falling apart. I went from playing school sports and dancing ballet to really barely being able to function. I had a lot of panic attacks, and at one point they thought I might have had multiple sclerosis because I had so many panic attacks. Right. But my mood just disintegrated, and educationally I went from being a gifted and talented student and skipping grade 8 to literally not being able to tell time on a conventional clock by 12th grade. And I think they let me graduate because they knew that there was something wrong. But, they had me on a little mini suicide watch at the school, and the counselor would check on me regularly. They watched my art because my art changed a lot in art class. I wasn't well.
So you mentioned in the book that you didn't want to take this at first. What happened that you ended up taking it, that your father convinced you to do it?
He introduced it to me as something that his pig feed formulator friend told him about. It just didn't seem like a really smart idea. And oh my goodness, I mean, I really believed that if I just took the medications that I was told to take and was a really, really good patient, that it would save my life. I was totally convinced. My doctor kept on saying, I was seeing an amazing specialist, schizophrenia, bipolar specialist, and he knew his stuff. He just kept saying, just give me a couple of years and we'll find something for you. But after my last suicide hospitalization, and I'm sitting in the corner listening to my husband talking to him about me in front of me and realizing, man, there's a part of you that goes, this isn't working. My husband had to provide 24-hour adult supervision for me. I wasn't allowed to be alone with my own son. And he was 3 at the time, and it was just not looking good. And my dad got custody of me for a couple of weeks during a time when my husband was supposed to be working midnight shift. And he hired a male psych nurse friend of his to come and hang out at the house. And they waited until I went digging around for sharp objects, and I was ranting and doing my thing. I used to kind of flap and smack myself around and stuff. And I guess they figured that gave them, legal standing to do what they were going to do. They got me really sedated, and then they literally forced me to take this wild concoction of micronutrients that I really believed was pig feed. So it totally wasn't, but about the 3rd day in, I realized that I had this regular thing. I had this hole that would open up. It was wider than me, but I would have voices and visions and all sorts of nasty things going on. And I went a whole day without it. And as a rapid cycling bipolar 1 with schizophrenic tendencies, that was noticeable to me. I don't know that anybody else would have said, gee, Autumn's looking sane, but I felt solid for the first time in at least a year and a half. I felt like, oh, you know, there's no hole. And that was a really big deal. And it was at that point I realized I wanted to try this. By the end of the week, I was having showers without help and fully undressed, and that was new. I would shower with my clothing on, or I would shower with somebody in the room, but I couldn't take care of myself alone because I had so much paranoia and just all over the map at that point. So,
well, it's amazing to me to be sitting in front of you. I mean, you're this beautiful, articulate, accomplished woman, and thinking about, you know, what your life was like leading up to who you are now. What does it feel like now to have kind of gone through that transformation? It seems like you're almost a different person.
I think I went through a period of mourning for a little while, for years lost, and wishing I could have met my mom. I don't think I ever did. And there's a part of me that thinks, you know, someday I'll meet her and I'll get to know who she is, because I feel like I am me now. I feel like I'm Autumn. And you know, for all those years that I was struggling, it was like me trying, but never really living. It's a completely different planet. You know, I've got 3 healthy daughters. My son's now 21, and he's off, you know, serving on a mission in Nicaragua, and just happy and confident and smart. And our whole family's just been healed in ways that I couldn't imagine. And it started with getting the chemistry straight and then just, you know, working through it. Had to renegotiate a lot of relationships and sort things out. You know, our marriages had to grow through this, but it's just a wonderful base to start with sanity. It's a good place to start.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story with us. It was great to talk to you.
Oh, you're welcome.